Be vegan. Being vegan doesn't make you healthy. So I'm gonna get straight to the point and I'm not gonna hold you. I jumped off the porch very, very early. And by that I mean I came into the knowledge and wisdom of different diets via my mother and father who are veterans. My father was a sergeant in the Marine Corps and my mother a petty officer in the Navy. And they always taught eat your vegetables, eat your vegetables. However, they were not vegan nor vegetarian, but they did express and enforce the importance of vegetables and clean eating. Coming from a multicultural background, my sister and I were able to experience different cultures and different healthy eating styles from the Jewish community. Shout out to Ray Portnoff, a great friend of my mother. She would invite us over to have Passover dinner, and we would have matzo ball soup and things of that nature. I have an aunt. She was married to a man from Thailand. His name was Pishai. And we got introduced to different vegetables and different herbs and spices, eating Thai food. We grew up in Gwinnett County, a very multicultural community full of Korean, Asian, Asiatics, indigenous people. So actually, Gwinnett County itself was a place where all of us intermingled. Gwinnett County is the melting pot. It was difficult because my friends, of course, they had all the good junk food, and in my household, we couldn't do that, you know. We were very limited on junk food. We had to eat vegetables, and I hated it then because there was no commonality between me and my peers. Moving forward, the stresses of life, adolescence, and things of that nature, I started overeating. So, yes, I consumed a lot of vegetables. Yes, I consumed a lot of breads. And yes, I consumed a lot of starches, and thus I became overweight. And it is by these facts and points of truth via science and research that I bring you The Unhealthy Vegan. Being vegan doesn't make you healthy. Chapter 1, Comfort Foods. I had just got out of the recording studio with Fujiano, a signed artist from Atlantic Records. And I was very stressed. I didn't eat that day, so I decided to go into the grocery store and get some soy ice cream. After all, it's vegan, it's non-dairy, it's not gonna hurt me. So after going in the house from a long studio session, smoking a gas blunt, I think it was a whole 7 grams, I got the munchies and I started downing the soy ice cream. And it was so good. And it hit the spot. And I immediately took a nap. When I arose, my stomach was bloated. And when I burped, it was a nasty aftertaste. It tasted like spoiled milk. My hands were inflamed. My face was puffy. And I was confused. How can my body be bloated by eating vegan ice cream, non-dairy? So I began my research and saw the negative effects of soy. Soy actually has estrogen in it, and it can cause inflammation and gynecomastia in men. There are no free lunches in this game. To be healthy, it takes work. So at that point, I stopped consuming foods with soy, including tofu. However, I needed another comfort food because in that time of my life, I was an emotional eater. If I was extra happy, I would eat foods to bring me down. If I was depressed, I would eat foods to boost me up. And so, unfortunately, a lot of sugars and a lot of starches do contribute to chemical impulses that excrete from the brain to give the body these emotions. So although my emotional needs were being met, I was unhealthy. I was overweight. I had a double chin. I had love handles. I had gynecomastia. It was hard for me to breathe. And yes, all these things still took place being a vegan. And no matter how much I worked out, no matter how many miles I ran, I could not get the unwanted weight off. I even thought it was genetics. Maybe it's my DNA. Hey, because my father is a retired boxer. He was very muscular and big. So I believe that notion, hey, it's just in my DNA. I got big people in my family. Because I did not have at that time the correct knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the science of being healthy, and better yet, being a healthy vegan. And at this time, I was working at 7 Under. Shout out to the wholesale family off Moreland Avenue in Atlanta, Georgia. And that place really opened me up to different variations of being vegan and being raw. However, once again, being vegan does not make you healthy. You still must consume certain foods at certain times in moderation. At this point, I was walking around like a madman. Something had to take place. So I dug deep into my culture. Yes, my Native American heritage and roots. And I discovered certain attributes of being vegan, and certain herbs and certain plants are what make you healthy, not just being vegan. And along with that, a strenuous exercise regimen. And it doesn't necessarily have to be you going out lifting thousands of pounds of weight 7 days a week. It can be so simple as going into the sauna 3 to 5 times a week. Because just as it is important to intake certain things, it's also just as important to excrete and eliminate certain things. I don't give a damn if you eating asparagus. If you have not did a CKLS cleanse, you're unhealthy. And for those of you who may not be familiar with the acronym CKLS, that's colon, kidney, liver, spleen. Chapter 2, self-discipline. Self-discipline is doing the things that you hate to do and to do it like you love it. So I began a practice of intermittent fasting, picking a certain time of a day to eat. And I did this initially for 7 days, which we call a week. And I had lost 10 pounds within 7 days of intermittent fasting, working out 45 minutes a day, constantly going in and out of the sauna and taking certain herbal supplements. I knew I had an arduous task at hand. I couldn't just do this once. I couldn't just do it twice. I had to make it a lifelong discipline and practice. And I'm an extremist. I had took my mind to a level to where I was not even hungry anymore. I just completely stopped eating. And now in the Western world, they're not familiar with this. They would say, oh, you're sick, you're anorexic. But if you break out of that box and you have exposure to other cultures, namely in the Eastern world, being Hindu or Manchurian or what you call Chinese, it is completely normal. That's how they trained all their samurais and ninjas and their saints and prophets. They all had this same practice. And I'll say this again, this is a mind shift. You must break out of the Western world thinking. The Western world does not encompass this entire galaxy. And according to a lot of Western historians, in their perspective, it's actually unhealthy to be vegan. They say that there are certain meats that one needs. In fact, you can get omega-3s from certain fish and certain proteins you can get from cows. And I say you can do all of those things in vegetables as well. So it's a matter of perspective, first. It is a matter of self-discipline, second. And it is also a matter of your species. But that's a different audio book. I'm going to keep it on ground level. So first things was first. In order to get this stubborn belly fat, I consumed capsaicin, which is a substance found in cayenne pepper. And I did it in the morning, in the evening, and at night at low doses, because too much of anything is not good. And I noticed that my metabolism increased And then I did notice when I did consume solid foods, it was easily digestible, and I was on my way to the bathroom due to capsaicin found in peppers. But that wasn't enough. I had to be disciplined. How much of this shit do I need to consume without it burning and lying in my stomach? Because too much of capsaicin can burn your intestines. So once again, one must be disciplined and also have self-control on when and how to take it. And we can go on to infinity speaking about different variations on being healthy and being a healthy vegan. And none of it can compare to this one thing: exercising and detoxing. This is the master key of being a healthy vegan or being healthy, point blank, period. Regardless of your diet, one must exercise constantly. And especially the fellas, we must constantly detox for the simple reasons we don't bleed every month. Now, the female aspect of us, they detox monthly. Unless they have menopause, which can be cured naturally. But again, that's another audiobook. It's about detoxing. If a female bleeds once a month, she's also eliminating toxins from her body. So if you're a male, you need to be detoxing twice a month through intermittent fasting and through sweating and through CKLS. Specifically, once again, this is not targeted to just the male species. However, there has been a multitude of men who are not detoxed. They may run, they may jump, they may be in the gym lifting weights. But if you look inside their colon, oh my goodness, it's disastrous. Chapter 3, consistency. Just because you detox today doesn't mean you're healthy. Just because you went a week being vegan don't mean you're healthy. Just because you went to the gym for 2 weeks doesn't make you healthy. Just because you exercise for 24 and 30 days does not mean you arrive. This is a lifelong discipline, and it must be consistent. So let's talk about the beautiful tomatoes. Tomatoes are great in various areas and aspects of health and nutrition. It eases inflammation. It lowers your cholesterol levels. But too much of it can cause nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. One must be consistent with diversity in order to be healthy. If you're doing a week of soups, next week do a week of salads. In the week after, liquids. You must constantly take your body on these different level changes.